I remember when the whole idea of the translation was an idea, and now to see it fully printed in a book, it's something that we as a family really appreciate and honor that you did this.
咁本身翻譯呢本書係源自一個諗法，不如譯咗本英文書佢啦。咁而家就真係出版咗啦，咁佢就好多謝，即係佢Sami 同埋佢整個嘅家族都好多謝咁多弟兄姊妹咧幫手去翻譯咗一本書咁樣出版。
So today we want to talk about peace in the Middle East.
咁今日我哋講下中東嘅和平嘅事啦。
And for many people, they think this is impossible.
似乎係對好多人嚟講係唔可能發生嘅。
And so I want to share a little bit more of the history of the situation and the conflict.
咁講一啲歷史啦，以巴衝突嘅歷史內容嘅咁啦。
And to share a little bit about the family history.
同埋講下佢家族嘅故事嘅。
Because I always say the reason why I do everything I do today is because of the family and especially my grandmother, Huda.
因為 Sami 佢就一路相信咧，佢做每一件事咧都係要即係為咗佢嘅家族啦，同埋特別係為咗佢嘅嫲嫲凱蒂嘅。
So I do a lot of speaking about the conflict, and I travel many places in the world.
咁佢經常去到世界各地唔同地方咧，講好多佢哋嘅工作。
And in the past, when I used to talk about the conflict, I would jokingly say that there is something actually in common between Palestinians and Israelis.
咁佢以往咧就會講話咧，其實巴勒斯坦人同以色列人咧都好多相似嘅地方嘅喎。
And what is in common is the opening line to our story.
咁佢哋有啲乜嘢係相似或者係共通嘅咧？就係佢哋嗰個故事嘅開始就係有一個共通點喺度。
But after the opening line, we have different stories.
但係自從嗰個共通點之後咧，佢哋以色列同埋巴勒斯坦人咧就有完全唔同嘅故事嘅。
And the opening line that most Palestinians and Israelis use to share their story is in 1948.
咁佢嗰個共通點咧就係1948年發生嘅事。
In 1948, as you know, there was a war that happened.
咁當年就發生咗一場大嘅戰爭啦。
The war was a result of the Jewish people declaring Israel as a state, as an independent state.
咁嗰場戰爭嘅結果咧，就係以色列嘅即係猶太人為主嘅即係以色列國啦，就宣布佢哋嘅國家獨立，或者我哋香港就係講復國。
So while the result of the war was a celebration for the Jewish people to have a state,
咁對於猶太人嚟講咧，1948年就係慶祝佢哋可以獨立嘅一年。
for the Palestinian people, it was a disaster.
但係對巴勒斯坦人嚟講咧，係一場大嘅災難。
We actually have a word for it. It's called Nakba.
咁係有一個字就叫 Nakba。
Nakba means catastrophe, not just disaster, catastrophe.
就唔係災難咁簡單，係大災難。
So if you say the word Nakba to any Palestinian or Arab, they know exactly. 1948.
咁如果你同任何一個巴勒斯坦人啊、阿拉伯嘅，即係巴勒斯坦嘅阿拉伯人咧，去講 Nakba 呢個字咧，佢哋就即刻會諗起即係會知道你係講緊1948年發生嘅事。
About 80% of the Palestinian population, the Christians and the Muslims, lost their homes and became refugees.
咁自從1948年開始咧，有80%嘅巴勒斯坦人咧，無論佢哋基督徒又好，係回教徒又好咧，佢哋就即係自此就失去咗家園咧，就一下子就成為咗難民啦。
About 500 towns and villages were destroyed.
咁有500個，即係喺嗰個地區入邊有500個嘅村莊或者小鎮咧，就被破壞晒。
So any nation that faces this is a catastrophe, a disaster.
對任何一個民族嚟講咧，佢哋發生一件咁嘅事咧，都即係毫無疑問係一個大嘅災難。
But I realized the more I talked with this opening line, that this opening line is part of a bigger story that many people think about the Holy Land.
但係佢越講呢一個開始嘅時候咧，佢就會慢慢就開始都會發現咗咧，其實1948年呢一個叫做共通點或者開始咧，只係一個大啲嘅一個局勢
How many of you have heard somebody say about the conflict, oh, that they have been fighting each other for thousands of years?
有冇人聽？即係如果聽我可以舉一舉手啦。即係諗起一件，即係以巴衝突就係呢兩個民族佢哋係幾千年嚟咧不斷打嚟打去，即係冇一個咁樣嘅印象啊！大家。
You heard it, yeah?
Yeah.
And that even some people say that since the time of Abraham, these people have been fighting each other and they hate each other.
係啦，咁大家係咪都聽過話？可能會聽過話自從亞伯拉罕嘅時代開始，佢哋就開始係打嚟打去㗎啦，互相去到憎恨㗎啦，咁樣有冇聽過咧？
They look into the children of Abraham, Ishmael and Isaac, and they think some genetic thing happened to us, and we just wake up every day, we fight each other, and then we go to bed. Wake up and fight each other, and then we go to bed.
係啦，咁佢就可能睇到聖經入邊話亞伯拉罕有兩個後裔，就以撒同埋以實瑪利，咁佢兩個咧就係唔啱嘅，所以呢兩個嘅民族咧到而家開始每朝早起身咧就係去打交㗎啦，就冇嘢做。
So many people forget that the children of Abraham actually made peace together when they came to bury their father when he died.
但其實喺舊約入邊咧係有記載到咧呢兩個亞伯拉罕嘅兒子咧，佢哋都其實係應該係和好咗先至去到埋葬佢哋嘅爸爸喺邊度先。
So this is not a historic conflict for thousands of years.
所以其實並唔係大家咁樣諗咧，係一個歷史悠久、一個流傳落嚟嘅衝突。
And to be honest, I will say this is not a conflict that will only be resolved with the second coming of Christ.
甚至乎咧，即係佢Sami 咧就話，即係呢個衝突咧，可能耶穌再翻嚟，即係唔係話耶穌等到耶穌再翻嚟就可以完全去解決咗呢個問題，呢個唔係唯一嘅答案。
We all can play a role in bringing peace to the Holy Land.
其實我哋每一個人咧都可以咧令到聖地呢個地方咧可以有和平嘅。
So now I start with a different opening line.
所以佢由而家開始咧，佢就用另一個起點咧去到講呢一個嘅故事嘅。
My opening line now is before 1948.
佢就會由1948年之前嘅事去講起。
What was life like in the land before this big war happened?
咁當時嘅生活係點樣嘅咧？未打仗之前啲人點生活嘅咧？
And I refer to neighborhoods like the neighborhood that my family grew up in.
咁佢就會去講一啲唔同嘅社區啦，例如佢哋即係佢嘅家族當時居住嘅社區。
And many other neighborhoods all across the land where Jews, Christians, and Muslims actually lived together as good neighbors.
其實咧，1948年咧喺巴勒斯坦呢個嘅地方咧，有好多嘅社區，好多嘅地方咧，啲無論係信猶太教啊、係猶太人啊、基督徒啊，或者回教徒咧，佢哋都係好一齊去到居住咧，係和平共處嘅。
They were very good friends. They celebrated activities together and birthdays together, and they cried together and they ate together.
係啦，佢哋咧就即係無論係慶祝又好，定係生日去到慶祝又好，或者佢哋有咩事唔開心要哀傷又好嘅，呢啲唔同嘅族群咧都係一齊去過嘅，呢啲一齊面對嘅。
And what's very interesting is that these people were very religious and very conservative, so very committed to their religion, and they were still friends with the other religions.
咁呢啲可能信回教啊、基督教或者猶太教咧，佢哋其實呢啲嘅人咧，佢都好虔誠嘅對於佢哋自己嘅宗教，咁但係佢哋仍然可以好和平咁樣去共處嘅喎。
And so in this neighborhood there were Jewish families that were living there.
咁有啲猶太教即係猶太人嘅家庭就住喺嗰度啦。
Who were very religious.
佢哋都好虔誠嘅對於猶太教。
And do you know what religious Jews do during Shabbat, which is from Friday sunset to Saturday sunset?
猶太人咧安息日咧，即係星期五晚到星期六晚嘅呢個安息日嘅時間會做啲咩嘅咧？大家知唔知道
All of you have the right answer. Nothing. They don't do anything.
係乜都唔做啦，個答案係。
So Shabbat is the day of rest for the Jewish people.
係啦，安息日就梗係要安息啦，對於猶太人講。
And on Shabbat, They do not do anything that takes effort, tasks, work.
咁任何工作咧要出力嘅，佢都唔會做嘅。
So imagine these little Muslim and Christian boys and girls, they had a job during Shabbat.
咁喺嗰啲社群入邊咧，嗰啲回教啊或者基督教徒咧，嗰啲大人啊小朋友咧，佢哋喺安息日咧就有好多嘢可以做啦。
Their job was to go into the Jewish homes to do the tasks that the Jewish families could not do.
佢哋咧嘅工作咧就係喺安息日嘅期間咧，去到呢啲猶太人嘅家庭入邊咧，幫佢做晒所有嘅家務啦，做所有嘅嘢。
So when the night came, they would go and turn on the light in the Jewish home.
去到幫佢開燈啦咁樣。
Or they would turn on the oven so that they will have a warm meal.
幫佢開個焗爐去煮飯啦。
This is the relationship that people had.
佢哋個關係就係咁樣㗎，咁密切㗎。
And for me, it's very important to put that as part of the story.
咁Sami 咧認為咧要講翻呢一樣嘢出嚟咧係好重要嘅。
It is not just war and conflict and violence. We had moments of amazing peace with each other.
所以就唔係淨係打仗啊、暴力啊咁樣，佢哋咧其實係有一段時間咧係好和平共處嘅。
And so for me, one of the questions is to ask what happened.
咁所以對佢嚟講，咁發生咗啲乜嘢事咧？點解而家個情況係唔同咧？
To ask why are we in a conflict? Not just to look into the conflict itself and the violence, but to ask what are the roots behind this conflict.
咁佢要明白呢一樣嘢咧，就要睇翻啲背後嘅原因或者背後嘅一啲嘅原則嘅。
Of course, 1948 happened and the family suffered in the war.
1948年呢場戰爭咧，令到好多嘅家庭咧都係受苦嘅。
The father of the family, who's on the book cover, my grandfather, he was killed in the war.
係啦，咁 Sami 嘅爺爺咧就喺呢場戰爭入邊咧就遇害嘅。
And when the Jewish forces came and took over the neighborhood, they kicked out all of the non-Jewish families.
咁然後啲以色列嘅軍隊咧去佔領嗰啲嘅社群嘅時候咧，咁所有非猶太人嘅家庭咧都要被迫係要離開呢一個佢哋嘅家園。
So my grandmother, Huda, she lost her husband, she lost her house, she lost her property. She even says she lost her future and the future that she was dreaming for her children.
係啦，咁 Sami 嘅嫲嫲咧，我睇咧佢就即係一日之間、一夜之間咧，就失去咗佢嘅丈夫啦，失去咗佢嘅家園啦，同埋佢整個佢嘅未來啦，同埋佢為佢嘅咁多個小朋友咧設想嗰個想像嗰個未來咧，就係即係一剎那之間咧就失去晒啦。
But I shared the story because I don't want you to feel sorry for the family.
但佢 Sami 咧今日要同我哋分享呢個故事咧，即係佢唔係淨係即係想我哋話你好可憐喎咁樣，唔係淨係咁簡單。
I shared the story because in that moment of deep pain and loss, my grandmother, in her faith, was able to be strong.
佢係想分享呢個故事咧，就係想話俾我哋知道咧，喺呢一個咁痛苦、咁迷失嘅時間咧，呢一位嘅姊妹即係海泰，佢點樣去到靠住憑住信心去到勝過呢啲嘅環境。
She always insisted that as a family, we will never seek revenge and retaliation against those who did this to us.
係啦，咁海泰呢一位姊妹嘅嫲嫲咧，就係即係堅持住咧，無論你遇到乜嘢都好，你唔可以去到要報復。
She also always insisted that as a family, we will always seek peace and reconciliation with those who did this to us.
係啦，即係就算經歷咗咁多呢啲嘅事情都好咧，作為我哋整個嘅家庭咧，整個家族咧，我哋一定要用和平嘅方法去到對待嗰啲令到我哋受苦嘅人。
And that was the seed that she planted in the family.
咁佢就播咗呢一粒咁重要嘅種子喺佢整個嘅家族入邊。
Jumping to my story, I was born after another very big war that happened over there.
咁Sami咧佢就係喺另一場嘅大嘅戰爭之後咧出世嘅。
It's in 1967.
咁呢個就係1967年啦，我哋叫六日戰爭。
It's For Israel, they call it the 6-day war.
呢個係以色列嘅講法咧，叫佢做6日戰爭。
Do you know why?
點解咧？
Because it's 6 days, they took over everything.
因為維持咗6日，佢哋就佔領晒所有地方咯，所以佢叫6日戰爭咯。
I am not an artist, so I want to try to a little bit draw the map for you to show you what happened.
佢就想畫一幅地圖俾我哋睇嘅。
Okay. Okay. Not bad. Okay. So the whole land before 1948 was under the British control.
咁直至即係整個巴勒斯坦地咧，直至1948年為1948年之前咧，就係英國嘅佔領嘅英國管治嘅地方。
And it was actually called Palestine.
咁個名就叫做巴勒斯坦。
All the Jews that were born in the land, when they got their birth certificate, it said born in Palestine.
咁就算你係猶太人都好咧，你喺呢一個地方出世咧，你個出世紙就話你係巴勒斯坦出世嘅人。
And the currency we used was the Palestinian lira.
咁你用嘅錢係巴勒斯坦貨幣啦，巴勒斯坦幣。
So in 1948, Israel was established on 80%, about 80% of the land.
咁1948年咧，以色列就即係叫建國啦，或者佢哋叫獨立啦，就係喺呢個巴勒斯坦80%嘅國土上面建國嘅。
And this is part of this 20.
咁另外呢2忽嘅地咧，就係其餘嘅2成嘅面積。
So Israel was established here, and they declared their country.
咁佢就將呢個國家就叫做以色列啦。
The West Bank was under Jordanian control.
咁當時嘅西岸嘅地區咧，就係約旦嘅呢個國家去到控制嘅。
And Gaza was under Egyptian control.
仲有加沙地區就係埃及呢個國家去控制。
In 1967,
1967年
Israel came and took over the rest of the land.
咁1967年咧，以色列嘅軍隊就即係去到入侵呢個西岸啦，同埋加沙地區，就將剩翻呢2成嘅地咧都佔領咗。
Now they had control over 100%.
咁而家嘅以色列國咧就係100%，100%咧就係由以色列控制啦。當然。
Nobody can deny that.
咁冇人可以，即係已經冇人可以否認呢一個即係既成嘅事實㗎啦。
And sometimes I wonder if Israel said, this whole thing is ours, we want to annex all of this land and make it all part of one state, and all the people become citizens of the state. If you like it or you don't like it, it doesn't matter, you could leave. What will the situation be like?
咁我成日都會諗咧，即係如果呢一個國家你可以整個100%嘅國土都去到佔領咗，然後咧就嗰度住嘅人咧，你就成為以色列國嘅公民啦。如果你唔中意嘅話，你咪移民去第度咯咁樣。咁其實咁樣到底係咩一回事咧？咁樣。
Because Israel could have done this. They won the land. It's theirs. They could have said, it's all for us.
即係其實以色列佢絕對係即係佢係做得出咁樣嘅事嘅。
Israel did not do that.
其實但係以色列咧，事實上佢又冇咁樣做喎。
The Israeli government placed its military to control the land and the people that were living in the 20%.
因為佢其實佢嘅做法咧，就係將以色列嘅軍隊咧去到佔領咗即係西岸同埋加沙地區啦，就去到管治嗰度嘅人。
So we became ruled by the Israeli military.
咁所以咧，其實喺即係喺西岸同埋加沙地區嘅人咧，佢係被以色列軍方咧去到控制嘅，或者去管治佢哋嘅。
And like any military regime anywhere in the world, the Israeli military was very suppressing of the Palestinian people.
咁喺世界上邊咧，無論 軍政府去到管治咧，咁當然咧即係就好似西岸或者加西地方出邊咧，就會嗰度住嘅人咧就受到好大嘅即係壓迫嘅。
We call it the military occupation.
所以當地嘅居民咧，或者心理同埋佢哋其他巴勒斯坦人咧，就會叫做一個軍方嘅佔領、軍事嘅佔領。
And so when I was growing up, I grew living under this military occupation.
咁所以佢由細到大咧，就係喺呢一種軍事嘅佔領之下咧長大。
Every aspect of our life was controlled by the Israeli military.
咁生活上面住行各方面咧，全部都係由軍方去控制。
All our freedoms, our basic freedoms were denied by this military.
所有基本嘅人權咧都係冇嘅，因為都係由軍方去控制住所有嘢嘅。
Freedom to assemble, freedom to share your opinion, freedom of the press, all of things, we could not do anything.
咁例如集會自由啦，或者言論嘅自由啦、出版嘅自由、新聞嘅自由，全部都係喺呢個地方入邊咧都係冇㗎啦。
If I came to Hong Kong, for example, and talked about Palestinian human rights, not political rights, and the Israeli army found out at that time, when I go back, they can arrest me and put me in prison for 6 months.
咁如果佢即係如果佢嚟香港去講巴勒斯坦人嘅人權嘅情況，咁然後嗰啲以色列嘅軍方係發現咗嘅話咧，咁就可以判佢坐監坐6個月。
So it was direct military control of our life.
咁所以其實軍方係直接咧去到控制住咧當地人嘅生活嘅一方面啦。
If you wanted to apply for a permit, if you wanted to open a shop, if you wanted to register a newborn child, you have to go through the Israeli military.
係啦，咁就算你可能要攞一個牌照去開一間鋪頭，或者你有小朋友出世啦，你幫佢去到攞出世紙咁都好，都係由以色列嘅軍方咧去到負責，要經過佢哋嘅程序。
To give if you wanted to apply for a telephone to your home,
咁如果再舉多個例子就係，如果你屋企想買部電話
maybe some of you still remember the telephone where you put it in the plug in the wall.
電話線嗰啲電話。
You remember those? Not before mobile phone? Yeah. To get a phone to your house, you have to go to the Israeli military to get the permission. Who wants to guess how long the process can be? You can speak. It's okay. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 1 year. Go up. 2 years. Who's gonna go up? This is just to get a phone line. I will not tell you it's done. I will tell you it's. Imagine 12 years for the process to get a phone line connected to your home. And you knew after they were monitoring everything you said.
So this is the life I was born in and grew up. And for me it was challenging. I have this beautiful family that talks about peace and reconciliation, but the reality is occupation.
咁佢整個家族咧都好希望或者經常喺度宣揚咧要和平啊，同埋要去到復和啊。咁但係佢哋每一日生活嘅現實咧就係軍事嘅佔領。
And I remember even as a child arguing with my father. How dare you ask us to make peace with them and look what they're doing to us?
佢甚至佢細個嘅時候，有時同佢爸爸比沙去到爭論點解仲要和平咧？佢哋咁樣對我哋嘅時候。
And it wasn't just the Israeli military that was violent towards the Palestinians.
咁呢個唔係即係仲未完喎，唔係淨係以色列嘅軍方咧去到控制巴勒斯坦人喎。
What started emerging after 1967 are what are called settlements.
咁 咁喺1967年之後咧，仲有好多嘅所謂叫殖民區。
These are Jewish, Israeli towns and villages only that are being built inside the occupied land, inside the occupied territory.
咁咩叫做殖民區咧？就係喺西岸啊或者加沙呢啲地方咧，去到建立一啲嘅村莊或者一啲嘅社區，就係淨係準猶太人居住嘅。
And many of the settlers in these settlements were more violent to the Palestinians than even the military.
咁個事實就係喺啲殖民區入邊居住嘅猶太人咧，佢哋甚至乎可能比呢啲軍人對巴勒斯坦咧係更加係暴力嘅。
Many were driven and still are driven by a very fundamentalist, extremist, religious idea of the land.
咁佢哋點解咁暴力咧？就可能係因為佢哋心裏邊就係好佢對宗教好狂熱啦，對於呢一笪地就有啲好比較極端嘅思想，所以佢哋有咁樣嘅行為。
And they say that the Jewish people took over the land, and they say the whole thing is for the Jewish people and nobody else.
咁佢哋就會相信咧，整個即係以色列國入邊100%嘅領土咧，都係屬於猶太人嘅，係唔可以俾任何嘅其他嘅種族嘅人喺嗰度居住。
So how can you make peace with those people?
咁點樣可以同呢啲人咧去到講和平咧？當佢哋有咁樣嘅諗法。
My uncle Mubarak, who you saw in the picture, the fat one.
咁穆巴拉克啦，佢其中一個叔叔啦。
He opened a center to teach nonviolence in the early 80s.
咁喺80年代初就成立咗一個中心，就去教巴勒斯坦人咧有關非暴力呢一個概念。
And he said, as Palestinians, we can fight occupation, we can resist it, we can end it, we can achieve peace by using nonviolence.
咁係宣揚咧，你可以用非暴力嘅手法咧，係可以去有朝一日咧可以即係抵抗啦，或者係結束呢一個嘅佔領。
And he began to organize activities that brought Palestinians and Israelis together to stand in fighting occupation together.
咁佢係舉辦咗好多嘅活動啦，係甚至乎咧係以色列人同埋巴勒斯坦人咧，去一齊去到聯手，去到學習呢一樣嘢，用非暴力嘅手法，去到爭取結束呢個佔領。
I was 12 years old in the first nonviolent action that I participated in.
咁喺佢12歲嘅時候就第一次參加呢一個呢一類嘅活動。
It was to plant olive trees in a Palestinian farmland that was going to be confiscated by one of the settlements.
就係當其中一個巴勒斯坦嘅村莊咧，就要被以色列去到佔領嘅之前咧，就喺嗰個地方度種一啲嘅橄欖樹。
And it's the first time I met Israelis who were not soldiers and not settlers but peace activists.
咁咧就第一次咧，佢人生中第一次見到咧，以色列咧都有一啲即係爭取和平嘅人嘅。
In 1988, the Israeli government arrested my uncle.
1988年咧，佢嘅穆巴拉克佢呢位叔叔咧就俾以色列嘅政府拉咗。
Because they saw nonviolence as a threat.
因為以色列嘅政府咧覺得，就算你講非暴力，呢一個對我哋政府嚟講都係一個威脅。
A nonviolent peace activist was seen as a threat to the government of Israel.
非暴力嘅爭取和平嘅人咧，對以色列政府嚟講咧，亦都係一個威脅。
And they decided to deport him.
咁就將穆巴拉克咧第二屆出境。
To kick him out from the country. And until this day, he cannot return and live there.
咁到今時今日為止咧，佢都係唔可以翻去呢一個國家嘅。
And that was at that time a very big emotional thing for me. I was 16 years old at that time.
咁當時森美佢就16歲啦，佢呢一樣嘢對佢嚟講係一個好大嘅打擊啦。
To see my uncle arrested, to see him in handcuffs and then the legs taken from prison to the court. To see the demonstrations of solidarity to him.
咁佢即係因為佢親眼見到佢嘅穆巴拉克啦，佢 佢呢位叔叔啦，就俾人戴上手扣啊、腳鏈啊咁樣去由監獄啊去法庭啊，然後有好多人咧係當時係示威請願咧，係要求以色列政府係釋放佢嘅。
I was in the court when the court decided to kick him out from the country.
咁當日嗰個法庭宣判要將穆巴克第二屆出境嘅時候咧，森美都在場去聽住。
And when they decided to kick him out from the country, it's not like, okay, you could go home and get your stuff. From the court to the airport, on an airplane, out, and not to come back.
咁即係嗰個宣判咧係一條龍嘅服務嚟嘅，由法庭咧送到去機場，然後就走，唔係話好啦，你幾時幾月幾日咧就要離境啦，不如你一翻去執行李咧就完全冇呢一個安排嘅。
So at that time, I decided I want to know what this non-violence is really about.
咁嗰陣時佢就真係好開始話啊，點樣仲可以繼續去非暴力去抗爭咧？咁樣就佢都有一個疑問。
It was fun to go plant trees and to carry signs and to do different activities, but there was something much deeper in it.
係有啲更加深層次嘅嘢要處理咗先。
So I decided I want to study this, and that's what I did.
所以佢就決定咧佢要學習呢一樣嘢，佢喺校園入邊去學多啲。
And continue to do it, of course.
咁佢由當時開始一路咧就喺度學習呢一件事。
In 1993, something beautiful began to happen.
1993年啦，有啲好好嘅事發生咗。
Or we thought it was beautiful, which was a peace process.
就係一個以巴嘅和平進程啦。咁當時好多人都會覺得係一件好事嚟嘅。
The Palestinian leadership and the Israeli leadership engaged in a process called the Oslo Peace Process.
咁以色列同埋巴勒斯坦嗰啲嘅即係政府，即係佢哋嘅政府嘅政治嘅領袖咧，就開始去到討論嗰個奧斯陸嘅協議。
It was beautiful because at that time the Berlin Wall was falling, apartheid in South Africa was ending, peace in the Middle East. Wow, everything was a big celebration.
咁當時即係大家都好滿懷希望啦，因為柏林圍牆喺即係90年代初又倒下咗啦，然後喺南非嗰個種族隔離政策又完結咗喎，咁而家中東都有一件咁好嘅事開始發生。
And the peace process was based on a very simple idea.
咁呢一件事咧係基於一個好簡單嘅一個概念。
It was called the two-state solution.
就係一個兩國嘅解決方法。
One state called Palestine, which is the West Bank and Gaza.
第一個國家就當然係巴勒斯坦啦，包括咗西岸同埋加沙地區。
And one state called Israel.
第二個國家就係以色列。
Two states for two people living side by side in peace.
係啦，咁就兩個國家、兩個族群就和平咁樣共處啦。
And everybody said, beautiful, we take it.
哇，真係好要。
As Palestinians, we felt, okay, we only get 20%, they get 80%, but fine, we take it.
係啦，咁巴勒斯坦人就會話，即係雖然佢哋淨係可以有2成嘅面積啦，但係都好啦，算啦，俾佢哋啦。
In 1996, after I finished my studying in the US, I came back to be part of this peace process.
咁呢一個進程一路延續到96年啦。咁森美喺美國讀完大學之後，翻返巴勒斯坦就去參與呢一樣嘢
to help build the Palestinian state.
去到準備建立呢一個巴勒斯坦國啦
and to help make peace between Palestinians and Israelis.
令到兩個嘅族群之間可以係有和平嘅。
But I was very disappointed by what I saw was happening in this peace process.
但係佢見到一啲事咧，令佢感到非常之失望。
The first thing that was disappointing and shocking for me was that in the years of the peace process, the numbers of the settlements increased.
咁第一樣令佢好失望嘅就係一方面佢哋嘅政治領袖喺度討論緊和平進程，但係以色列咧就繼續喺西岸咧係建立咗更加多嘅殖民區。
More settlements were built in the years of the negotiation than before the negotiations began.
係啦，咁佢哋啲就一方面就喺度談判緊和平啦，另一方面咧就喺西岸咧建立多啲殖民區喎。
The Israelis that lived in these settlements, there were 200,000 in 1993.
咁由1993年咧喺呢啲殖民區有20萬嘅猶太人喺啲殖民區入面居住啦。
The number more than doubled in 6 years.
喺6年間咧就多咗超過1倍。
Now, 650,000 Jewish settlers live in these settlements. Not in Gaza anymore, because they came out from Gaza, but in the West Bank.
咁到今時今日為止咧，就喺西岸嘅殖民區咧，就有65萬嘅猶太人居住啦。
And I could not understand what is the logic behind moving Israelis into the West Bank when you are supposed to give the West Bank to the Palestinians to make a state.
咁心里就覺得好唔明白，點解一方面就話用兩國嘅解決方案就可以將巴勒斯坦咧就俾佢建國啦，但係咧又將一啲以色列嘅猶太人咧就去到搬入去，用佢哋搬入去呢啲殖民區度居住。
Imagine everybody likes pizza here. Pizza?
唔中意食 pizza。
One person likes pizza. Two people like pizza. Okay. So those who like pizza, imagine you and a friend of yours, you order a pizza to your house.
好啦，如果你中意食 pizza， 你諗下，你同一個朋友叫咗一個 pizza，
and the pizza is cut in 10 slices.
送到你屋企啦，咁切開咗10塊啦。
And both of you are very, very hungry.
你兩個都勁肚餓㗎啦已經。
But your friend is much bigger and much stronger.
但係你個朋友好大隻喎，好肥喎。
So he says, I'm going to take the whole pizza.
佢話：呢10塊俾晒我食。
But both of you feel that it's for you. You both ordered the pizza, you want to share it.
但係你話：如果我哋兩個一齊嗌嘅喎。
So you begin to cry and to yell and to shout and make it difficult for him to enjoy the pizza.
所以你就喺度係咁嘈啊、喊啊、喺度尖叫啊，等佢都食得唔安樂。
So then he says, okay, I will make a deal with you.
咁佢就話：好啦，我同你解決呢件事啊。
I'm going to give you 2 pieces. I'm going to take 8, I'm going to give you 2.
好啦，俾2塊俾你食啦。
At the beginning you say, no, it's not fair, we both have to share it, 50-50. But then you say, okay, I'm so hungry, give me the 2 slices.
咁你本身都諗住唔得喎，每人5塊喎，咁樣但係最後都係算啦，我太肚餓啦，你俾2塊俾我啦，快啲。
So he takes his 8 pieces and he puts them away, he hides them.
所以佢就攞咗嗰8塊收埋佢啦。
And now on the table there are the 2 slices.
咁台面就得翻2塊。
And you think, okay, I will take them.
咁你話好啦，呢2塊咪就係我嘅咯。
He says, wait.
佢話唔得喎。
I want to give you the 2 slices as part of a process.
佢話我要經過一個和平進程先俾2塊俾你。
To give them to you slow, a little bit at a time.
慢慢俾你食啦，切開細粒。
Because I want to make sure that if you eat them too fast, then maybe you will want the other slices. So I want to give them to you slowly.
因為我驚你太肚餓，食完2塊咧又攞我嗰啲喎。
You are so hungry that you agree.
咁就算啦，你好啦，咁樣都答應啦。
What he starts to do is he cuts a slice of one of the pieces a little bit, and he gives it to you.
咁你就搣咗細塊就對俾你食啦。
So you eat it.
咁你就食咗個粒嘅喎。
Then he cuts another slice,
然後佢又搣一粒俾你啦。
and he puts it with the other 8 pieces.
但係又自己收埋喎，又唔係喂俾你食喎。
Then he cuts a little bit and gives to you, and then he cuts a little bit and puts to himself.
就咁搣一粒俾你，又搣一粒俾自己咁樣。
This is what was happening in Oslo.
咁呢個就其實奧斯陸嗰個和平進程咧，佢哋就傾咗啲咁嘅嘢出嚟啦。
So the Israeli government and military gave the Palestinians some areas to control.
咁樣就另外咧劃出咗呢啲紅色嘅區咧，就係俾巴勒斯坦人咧可以自己食嘅、自己管治嘅。
But at the same time, they kept taking more and more.
然後自己又再整多啲殖民區出嚟俾自己以色列。
So they divided the West Bank into 3 areas.
所以其實咧，西岸咧係有3大嘅區嘅。
Areas A,
有 A 區、
B,
B 區
and C.
同埋 C。
Areas A are 15% of all of this.
咁西岸嘅15%嘅面積咧就係屬於 A 區。
And they said to the Palestinians, you can have administration and security in Area A.
咁佢就喺呢個 A 區入邊咧，巴勒斯坦人咧就可以有權去到做一啲行政啦，或者一啲保安嘅管轄嘅工作。
But anytime we want to come into Area A, we can come in.
但係咧，以色列嘅政府或者軍方咧，隨時都可以自出自入嘅喺 A 區。
And Area A is the big cities in the West Bank.
咁而 A 區咧就係西岸入邊啲大城市。
Bethlehem, Hebron, Ramallah, Nablus, all the big cities are now under Palestinian control.
係啦，例如伯利恆啊、希伯倫啊、拉馬拉呢啲就係屬於 A 區嘅大城市。
Areas B are 25%.
咁25%嘅地方咧就屬於 B 區。
They said to the Palestinian, you can have administration here, but security is with Israel.
咁喺 B 區咧，巴勒斯坦人咧嘅權就再細啲，就淨係可以一啲行政管理嘅。咁但係啲保安啊，就係由翻以色列軍方去做。
Now how much is left?
咁計一計數，剩翻幾多啊
60%.
60? 60%.
60%，
All
60%嘅地方
under Israel control.
咁就連嗰個行政管理權都冇嘅，就係以色列就話幫你哋管晒佢啦咁樣。
So in a sense, they did not take just one slice. They took more than one slice of the 2 slices that are still under Israeli control.
咁嗰2塊 pizza 入邊唔係淨係攞一塊喎，係攞咗一塊再多啲喎，攞咗60%喎。
So this was one of the reasons why I said this peace process is crazy. We have to do something about it.
所以對於心理嚟講咧，即係佢就會覺得呢一個和平進程咧真係好瘋狂啊！即係要做啲嘢先得。
A second reason to start the organization was the understanding of peace.
第二個問題就係對和平呢一樣嘢嘅理解。
For me, peace means bringing people together.
咁對於即係心理嚟講咧，和平咁當然就係代表將唔同嘅人帶埋咗一齊，即係擺埋一齊啦。
Building relationships.
建立關係啦。
Begin to think of what is the future we want to work on together.
咁一齊去到諗咧，我哋想我哋呢一個社會未來係點樣咧
？Building trust and respect between the communities.
將唔同族群咧之間建立一個互信同埋互相尊重。
In the peace process, this was not happening.
咁但係喺和平進程入邊咧，嗰個和平並唔係咁樣嘅喎。
What we started seeing in the peace process was actually it was a process to create more separation between Palestinians and Israelis than bringing them together.
咁喺和平進程入邊咧，以色列人同埋巴勒斯坦人咧，即係佢哋係反而咧，佢哋係更加多嘅互相去到區隔咗、分離咗。
All of a sudden, we started having checkpoints and roadblocks.
咁喺巴勒斯坦即係呢個西岸地區咧，就多咗好多檢查站或者好多嘅路障。
And these checkpoints and roadblocks not to separate Palestine from Israel only, but inside the West Bank as well.
咁呢啲檢查站同路障唔係我哋嗰啲口岸去到喺個邊境度分開喎，就係喺嗰個西岸嘅境內咧都有好多呢類嘅檢查站路障嘅。
And then a few years later, we started seeing a wall being built. You probably saw pictures of the wall.
咁逐漸咧唔單止檢查站同路障啦，就起咗啲圍牆添。
Israel always claims security is the reason why they do this.
咁以色列政府就話：呢個係基於保安嘅理由。
This is an argument.
咁呢個係佢哋嘅理據啦。
For the Palestinians, we look at this and say, this does not even provide security.
咁但係對於巴勒斯坦人嚟講咧，呢個並唔係保安嘅理由咁簡單喎。
It just creates more anger and more frustration. That means more violence.
其實咧，因為有咗呢啲嘅所謂呢啲保安嘅設施咧，就會更加多嘅怨氣啦，同埋更加多佢暴力，反而因為咁樣咧而出現咗。
I was in a church today, and they were giving this card for my talk, and it has a picture of the wall on it.
咁今朝森美去到一間教會入邊咧，即係佢介紹森美呢一個人啦，咁佢就有呢一張相就係個圍牆嘅。
This is a wall that's built in my town.
咁呢一個就係喺森美屋企嗰個小鎮嗰度起咗嘅圍牆。
It is built on a Palestinian Christian farmer land.
咁佢係喺一個巴勒斯坦基督徒擁有嘅地上面起咗呢一道嘅圍牆。
They took 90% of his land to build the wall.
咁因為起呢埲牆咧，嗰個巴勒斯坦嘅基督徒咧，佢90%嘅地咧，呢塊地嘅90%嘅面積咧就被充公咗。
We used to organize demonstrations exactly in this spot to resist the building of the wall.
咁佢哋以往咧森美同埋佢其他巴勒斯坦基督徒咧，喺呢個地方咧就經常都會有好多嘅行動嘅，或者一啲嘅示威請願嘅。
Some of the olive trees here are olive trees that me and Israeli friends, we chained ourselves to so that the army will not destroy the trees.
咁佢有時即係佢呢度有啲嘅橄欖樹咧，佢哋以往咧以巴嘅基督徒咧，佢哋會將自己咧鎖喺嗰棵嘅橄欖樹度，等以色列嘅軍方咧唔會破壞嗰啲樹。
So the whole peace process collapsed.
咁其實整個和平進程咧，係已經崩潰咗啦，
We started the organization before the peace process collapsed.
咁佢喺呢一個和平進程咧崩潰咗之前咧，就已經成立咗一個
in 1998.
1998年。
And our slogan was strengthening the communities for the future.
咁佢哋嘅口號咧就係要為咗未來我哋要去到建立或者嚟鞏固我哋嘅社區。
What we believe in our situation, in any situation around the world where there is conflict, it is about the communities that make peace real or not.
係因為佢哋相信咧，喺世界上任何一個地方都好，即係總之嗰個地方係淨係有一啲嘅衝突喺度發生緊咧，其實嗰個社區咧可以令到個和平係可以出現嘅。
The politicians can negotiate, they can agree or not agree, but that doesn't matter if the people are not convinced that this peace is really the best peace for them.
係啦，咁即係一啲政治領袖啊，或者嗰啲嘅官員，佢哋去到談判啊，或者去到傾到啲乜嘢出嚟咧，其實咧歸根究底都係嗰個社區入邊居住嗰啲人咧，覺得呢一個和平達唔達得到先至係最重要。
And the politicians may even trick us and try to convince us that this is the right peace for you. But if we really don't feel the sense of justice and freedom from that peace, then again that peace will not last.
咁有時就算啲官員會話嗱，呢一個和平嘅方法咧，個方案咧係行得通嘅。咁但係如果啲人嗰度嘅居民都唔覺得咁樣係公義或者咁樣係行得通，咁點樣可以行得通咧
So in the year 1999 and 2000, the peace process failed.
咁1999年至到2000年咧，呢個整個嘅和平進程咧就係以失敗收場啦。
And we were in a very violent time.
咁就出現咗一個好多嘅暴力衝突發生嘅時代。
In the media, you probably heard a lot about the suicide attacks and the bus bombing by Palestinians against Israelis.
咁大家可能喺電視上面都見到有好多嘅可能巴勒斯坦人策動嘅自殺式襲擊啦，或者炸彈襲擊啦咁樣。
I don't know how much you heard about the Israeli attacks against Palestinians in the media here.
咁唔知道大家經常會見到係有以色列人咧係襲擊巴勒斯坦人。
It was violence on both sides.
其實咧係雙方面嘅，唔係淨係巴勒斯坦人襲擊以色列人。
And And that is when, as an organization, we said, no, non-violence is the way. We protest and we demonstrate against this occupation.
咁但係新嘅組織咧就好堅信一樣嘢咧，非暴力先至係解決嘅方法嘅，即係要用非暴力嘅手法嚟去做一啲請願嘅或者示威。
But what's very important to understand, at that time and for many people until today, resisting the occupation and fighting the occupation for peace is meant to achieve a political solution.
咁好多人佢哋都會相信咧，即係去到即係去到咁樣做一啲非暴力嘅抗爭咧，係希望可以達到一個即係最終一個政治上嘅解決嘅方法。
And you look at me and say, of course, I mean, what else would you want to achieve?
咁當然呢個好似好即係似乎係好順理成章啦。
And when I started realizing more and more that peace is not just about reaching a political agreement.
但係對於今日嚟講咧，佢知道咧即係呢一個和平進程咧，唔係一個要達至和平咧，唔係一個政治上嘅嘢咁簡單，政治上一件事。
And so as part of my own spiritual journey in my own faith, I began to ask different questions.
咁佢喺佢自己嘅屬靈嘅生命入邊咧，佢都會問好多即係自己去到反省好多唔同嘅問題。
You know, as a Palestinian, it's easy for me to stand here and I could talk about how bad Israel is for 5 hours.
咁如果對於佢一個巴勒斯坦人嚟講咧，要講一個講座講5個鐘，以色列有幾衰咧，係好容易嘅。
And you will all shake your head and you will agree with me.
咁所有人都會好認同啊，好認同啊。
And tomorrow an Israeli will come and he will talk for 6 hours about how bad the Palestinians are and how they are to blame.
咁聽日又請一個以色列人講6個鐘啲巴勒斯坦人幾衰咁樣。
And you know what you will do?
咁你哋大家個反應又會點咧？又啱喎咁樣。
He's right. He's right. Everybody's right. This is the stories.
個個都係啱嘅，個個都講緊一啲事實出嚟。
And so for me, it started opening different questions to begin to ask.
咁所以佢就會諗好多嘅問題啦。
One question is what does real peace in the Holy Land look like?
咁佢就會諗一個問題，到底喺呢個聖地入邊咧，真正嘅和平咧係講啲乜嘢咧？係點樣嘅一回事咧？
Another question is what happened to the neighborhood that my father was born in, where all these 3 religions and in Jerusalem, where they were relationship with each other. What happened to the situation to make this conflict today?
咁同埋佢會諗翻到底呢個回教、猶太教同埋基督教之間嘅人物喺以色列，例如喺耶路撒冷呢啲地方，到底係發生咗啲乜嘢事咧？佢就睇翻清楚。
From a very deep Christian belief, I began to also ask myself, what is motivating me even in my work of nonviolence?
咁作為一個基督徒咧，佢都會去到反思翻到底佢做呢啲嘢嘅原動力係嚟自啲乜嘢嘅。
And I began to realize, to answer the third question first, is a lot of what was motivating me even in my nonviolence was hatred towards my enemy.
咁即係佢逐漸咧，佢發現咧，其實佢嘅原動力咧，即係嚟自一個憎恨，或者佢去憎恨佢嘅敵人，所以佢做咁多或非暴力抗爭嘅嘢。
And that I realized was a direct violation of the command of Jesus to love your enemy.
咁佢即係當時佢就發現啦，呢個係即係完全咧直接係違反咗耶穌嘅教導啦，就話要愛你嘅仇敵。
So can I be motivated in my nonviolence from a place of love, not from a place of fear and hatred?
咁佢就開始喺度諗，我可唔可以用一個愛成為我做呢啲非暴力嘅嘢嘅原動力咧，而唔係用一個恐懼或者去憎恨去到驅動我做呢啲嘅嘢咧？
So as I'm struggling with all of these questions, I received an invitation from Jewish friends of mine.
咁佢諗緊呢啲嘢嘅時候咧，佢就有一個猶太人嘅朋友咧，去到邀請佢做一件事。
Now, you know this is the Holy Land, right?
呢個聖地啦，大家都知道。
And people from all around the world come to do pilgrimage in the Holy Land.
咁世界各地嘅基督徒啊，或者其他好多嘅宗教嘅教徒，佢都會嚟呢一度去朝聖嘅。
And it's Christians who initiate the pilgrimage to come and to pray in the holy sites.
咁歷史上係基督徒係做呢一樣嘢先嘅，喺個聖地嘅朝聖。
So these Jewish friends of mine are telling me, Sami, we want you to come on a pilgrimage with us, not in the Holy Land.
咁呢一個猶太人嘅朋友咧，就邀請話：森美，不如你今次同我哋去朝聖，唔係去耶路撒冷聖地朝聖啦？
Tony, you're crazy. People come here for pilgrimage, and you as Jews are asking me to go with you somewhere else.
咁森美就以為呢一個朋友你咪傻㗎？人人都係嚟聖地朝聖，你叫我去第二度朝聖？
And they said, yes, we want you to come on a pilgrimage with us to Poland.
咁嗰個佢朋友就話：我唔係傻嘅，我係想你同我一齊去波蘭呢個地方。
It's a program that they hold called the Bearing Witness.
係咁去波蘭咧，就係去參加一個活動咧，就叫做見證。
And it is a program that happens in the death camp of Auschwitz and Birkenau.
咁其實就係去參觀波蘭一啲咧當時納粹黨建立嘅集中營。
I'm sure all of you know about the Holocaust and what happened in Europe during that time.
係啦，第二次世界大戰嘅時候咧，納粹嗰個猶太人嘅大屠殺咧，大家都會知道啦。
So I went with them.
所以森美咧就跟咗一個朋友去波蘭。
And if I want to say anything, it was an experience that completely changed my life.
咁呢一個就係一個改變佢一生嘅一個經驗。
When I visited Auschwitz and Birkenau, where the Holocaust happened, I realized what this conflict is about.
咁當佢去到波蘭咧睇呢個納粹黨佢最大嘅兩個集中營嘅時候咧，佢就反而咧就令佢明白咗以巴衝突咧係乜嘢一回事。
This conflict is about fear and trauma.
其實咧呢個衝突個歸根究底咧就係源於一個恐懼。
The Jewish community suffered tremendously under the Nazi rule.
因為咧猶太人咧喺第二次世界大戰期間喺納粹嘅統治之下咧，就即係受咗好大嘅苦。
And it's not just the Nazi, it's centuries, even before the Nazi, where there was discrimination against the Jewish people in Europe.
同埋咧並唔係納粹黨唔係第一個組織係去到即係害啲猶太人嘅，而係咧幾百年嚟咧猶太人都受咗好多嘅壓迫。
And that created trauma and fear.
所以喺猶太人心裏邊咧有一個好大嘅一個悲痛同埋恐懼。
So when I was in Auschwitz, I saw what happened.
咁去到集中營咧，佢就會睇翻當時係發生過乜嘢事啦。
And it was very shocking.
對森美嚟講咧係好震撼嘅一個經驗。
But I also saw how Israeli teachers were speaking to a new generation of Israeli children inside these locations. 咁喺集中營入邊咧，有啲以色列嘅一啲老師就向一啲以色列嘅年青人咧去到教佢哋講課，即係講一啲嘢俾佢哋聽。So every year, thousands of Israeli children come to Auschwitz, and it's paid for by the Israeli government. 咁每年咧就有好多即係每年有幾千個嘅以色列人咧去到波蘭嗰度咧，去呢啲奧斯威辛集中營咧。係去交流，就係以色列政府咧出錢嘅。And you think it's very important for them to learn about their history because this is part of Jewish history. 係咁以色列政府就話呢啲國情教育學歷史好重要嘅。But the problem was that it wasn't just told to them as history. 咁但係嗰個問題咧就唔係淨係純粹講歷史咁簡單嘅。So there were 4 points that I heard almost every Israeli teacher tell these 14, 15-year-old Israeli children. 咁佢入邊咧有4個重點咧，就係嗰啲以色列嘅老師啦，就同啲以色列嘅年青人講。The first point, as Jews, we are always and we will always be persecuted by the world. 咁第一點我哋經常講咧，就係話我哋作為猶太人咧，就我哋係永遠咧都會係被受壓迫嘅一個族群嚟㗎啦。The Holocaust is not over. 嗰個大屠殺咧並未完結嘅。Every generation and nation rises out to destroy us. This is statements that they will sell and tell their children.
咁有好多嘅國家咧就會繼續去到興起嚟咧，就會想即係消滅我哋猶太人。
So the first point, we were and we are and we will always be the most persecuted people in the world.
咁第一個即係呢一個重點咧，就係話我哋由過去到而家到未來咧，我哋都會係一個最受壓迫嘅一個嘅民族。
The second point, which was even more shocking,
第二點就更加令佢震驚㗎啦。
was when they were telling these children, if the Arabs, if the Palestinians have an opportunity, they will do to you what the Nazis did to your generations that passed, your elders.
咁第二點咧就係嗰啲嘅老師咧就會同猶太人講啦，如果阿拉伯人或者巴勒斯坦有咁嘅機會咧，佢都會照樣用納粹黨嘅方法咧去到迫害你哋。
So imagine you are a child and you have a list of the names of your great-grandparents and great-uncles and aunts who were killed in Auschwitz, and now you are being told if Sami has an opportunity, or if Ali or Muhammad or Ahmed or doesn't matter who has an opportunity, they are going to do to you exactly what the Nazis did to the list of people that you have.
咁對呢啲以色列即係猶太人嘅年青人嚟講咧，佢哋會即係佢哋都有啲祖先咧，或者啲祖父母嘅嗰一輩咧，係喺納粹黨屠殺嘅。咁所以當你哋聽到話如果阿森美有機會嘅時候咧，佢都會咁樣去到殺你，就好似殺你嗰啲嘅祖父母一樣。
The third point, this is why we have to be strong. This is why we never let our guard down. This is why security is more important than anything else.
咁第三樣嘢咧就係教嗰啲嘅年青人咧，我哋咧要經常咧要保持住好堅強嘅，我哋永遠咧都唔可以掉以輕心，所以咧保安啊呢啲嘅安全咧係最重要嘅，永遠都係最重要嘅一個考慮嚟嘅。
Now the last point, this is why you and you and you have to join the army. The army is the only way to maintain our security. There is no other way to maintain our security except by you joining the army.
咁第四點咧就係佢哋要嗰啲年青人咧，所以你哋咧就正因為前面呢三點，所以你哋一定要當兵。當兵咧就係唯一去到保護我哋嘅安全嘅方法。
I'm listening to this and I am completely shocked.
咁佢喺個集中營度聽到咧，佢就覺得即係令佢好震撼。
And at that point I realized that our conflict is not just a political conflict between two nations fighting over pizza slices.
咁所以佢就明白咧，佢就令佢好震驚啦！即係原來呢一件事咧並唔係兩個國家去到爭披薩食咁簡單嘅一啲政治問題。
And I began to realize that a lot of the peace process that we call peace between our leaders was actually motivated by their fear of each other.
咁原來咧國家之間佢哋呢啲所謂嘅和平進程咧，佢哋竟然咧背後嗰個嘅起源或者佢哋嗰個動力咧，係因為佢哋驚對方。
We are afraid of you and what you might become or what you might do to us. Therefore, we will try to reach some agreement with you.
其實就係話因為我驚你，所以我嘗試同你有簽一個和約。
But we want to maintain control, even in us reaching an agreement with you.
但係我哋要簽一個和約，然後咧我要保持住一啲控制權。
And for us, as Palestinians, we were feeling we were losing everything. We didn't have anything. So we were afraid that we will never have anything in the future. So let us also reach an agreement, even if it's about taking a little bit of the pizza.
咁其實呢一個恐懼咧，都喺巴勒斯坦人心目中喎，因為佢哋驚會好似以往咁樣失去晒所有嘢，所以佢哋就算係以色列咧俾少少嘅嘢俾佢咧，佢哋都願意去接受。
This is why, for me, one of the main reasons why the peace process failed.
咁所以呢一個其實就係呢個和平進程啦，失敗一個主要嘅原因。
Because it's not motivated by a real just solution.
咁失敗嘅原因就係因為佢哋根本唔係想去到達到一個真正公平公義嘅一個解決方案。
It's not motivated by recognizing and acknowledging the full right of the other where they live and in the land.
喺個過程入邊都冇去到全面咁樣去到尊重翻對方嗰個嘅權利或者佢哋嘅
just to reach an agreement to make the other side quiet.
純粹咧想達到一個嘅進程咧，係令到對方咧收聲啦，唔好再搞事。
So our work now, and I will end with this, is to look at peace differently.
咁所以新美咧佢成立呢一個嘅組織啦，佢哋嘅目的咧就係希望人咧可以用一個唔同嘅方法，用一個新嘅方法去到睇和平呢一樣嘢。
We don't look at peace now as finding the political solution.
和平咧並唔係去揾一啲政治上嘅解決方法。
We look at peace as the process of healing and transforming the hearts and the minds of people who are in conflict with each other.
其實咧和平咧係講緊一啲喺個衝突入邊咧，一啲人與人之間咧，佢哋自己嘅內心咧要去到獲得一個醫治。
And if you are healed, especially of your fear, then you can actually begin to see a real possibility for a real peace for the future.
只有當你個心入邊咧，你係得到醫治啦，唔再俾呢啲恐懼咧去到纏住嘅時候咧，你就真係會知道咧和平係可以係點樣達到啦。
Fear is like lenses. So when I put my lenses of fear, the future that I see is a continuation of that fear.
即係恐懼咧，好似一副眼鏡咁樣嘅。如果你戴一副恐懼嘅眼鏡咧，你見到嘅就係恐懼咯。
And most of the time, you don't see a future when you are motivated by fear.
係啦，咁如果你做嘅嘢係因為源於你恐懼而去到做咧，咁你會見唔到一個將來係點嘅，見唔到個未來嘅。
So our work now is about healing the trauma and the wounds of the past so that we can free people to begin to see a new vision for the future.
咁所以佢正做緊嘅工作咧，就係要醫治呢啲人嘅心，等佢由嗰啲嘅大嘅傷痛啊，或者恐懼入邊咧，可以釋放出嚟，得到自由咧，咁佢就見到一個未來啦。
And our work with transformation is we use a very specific methodology called non-linear thinking.
咁佢哋嗰個更新呢個更新運動咧，佢哋一個特別嘅就係咧，佢哋唔會係諗嘢咧，唔會係一條線咁樣去到諗嘅。
The non-linear thinking is a training that we help people to begin to determine in their life what is possible and what is not possible.
呢一樣嘢咧，可以幫佢哋去到了解咧，喺佢哋人生入邊有啲乜嘢可能做得到，有啲乜嘢不可能做得到嘅。
And if you see something as impossible, how can we make it become possible?
如果你好似一條直線咁樣就壓到直線個尾咧，就係不可能。咁你一開始已經咁樣諗咗，咁點樣可以將個不可能變為可能咧？
And it's a research and study in how we make our decisions as human beings.
但係咧，正係人類咧，好多時係咁樣去到諗嘢，去到作決定嘅，就係一條線咁諗嘢。
So, for example, all of you, all of us, are making hundreds of decisions every day.
咁我哋每個人咧，每日都做幾百個決定嘅。
One decision that I see people in Hong Kong make almost all the time.
香港人最中意做啲咩決定咧？
Is to keep the front row almost empty. Everywhere I go, there's a decision. We keep it empty. I don't know why. It's a decision.
去到邊度都好咧，去到咩聚會咧，第一行都係唔好坐嘅。點解？唔知點解。
So as you're sitting, you're even making decisions. You're deciding if you like what I say or not, right? You're thinking here.
咁你就算聽緊心理講嘢咧，你都喺度作緊決定個決定啊，佢講得啱，講得唔啱，都聽唔聽。
Those of you who are writing are deciding if this is something important to write or not.
決定啊，要寫筆記呢個重要寫低。
You decided who to sit next to and who not to sit next to. I don't like that person. I will sit on this side of the room.
咁你就決定我要同佢坐啦，我決定邊個坐，邊個坐。
But if I ask the question, where do our decisions come from? What makes me decide what I decide?
咁但係你呢一個決定係點樣嚟嘅咧？點樣做呢個決定嘅咧
And in this training that we give, what people begin to learn is that all the decisions we make are motivated by our past experience and knowledge.
咁其實我哋做決定咧，係因為我哋過去嘅經驗或者我哋所學到嘅知識咧，就決定我哋今日做呢啲決定。
What I'm dressing today, for example, was motivated by my design, fashion experiences of the past.
佢今日點樣着就係因為佢由一啲可能睇一啲時裝啊、fashion 啊，或者佢以往嘅經驗咧，決定係點樣着衫嘅。
If we went to a restaurant and it was a meal that made our stomach sick,
如果佢去到一個餐廳食完係肚痛嘅，
and the next day I say, let's go to that same restaurant,
如果第日就話喂，不如又去嗰度食啦，
what will you say?
咁你會講咩咧？
You're crazy. You forgot. Yesterday you got very sick, Sammy, when we went to this restaurant. Why do you want to go again? We go somewhere
咁
else.
就再去，不如去第度啦。
So we're very smart. We make our decisions
咁你基於過去嘅經驗去作決定。
based on our past, what we learn, what we experience, the habits, the culture, the behaviors of how people behave towards us. We learn how to behave towards other people.
咁基於你嘅經驗啊、你知識或者當地嘅文化呢啲習慣去到作決定嘅。
If we ask about the possibility of peace in the Holy Land,
會去到講喺聖地咧要達至和平。
what are the answers that you think the average Israeli or Palestinian will give about the possibility of peace?
咁正常嘅以色列或者巴勒斯坦人會覺得呢個可唔可能咧？
What is one answer you might hear?
會聽到啲乜嘢嘅答案啊？
Impossible.
不
Never.
可能，
You hear this?
永遠都冇可能㗎啦。
So most people will say, impossible. Never. We will have peace.
多數人都會覺得係冇可能。
What is the optimistic answer? The positive answer?
啲樂觀主義者咧，樂觀或者正面思想嘅，覺得個答案係咩咧？ Exactly 100年之後就會有啦。
After 100 years, not in my lifetime. It's going to take 3 generations.
有生之年都見唔到啊！
But it cannot happen in my lifetime. So these are the 2 common answers.
好常見嘅，好常有。
Why are we deciding that peace is impossible?
點解我哋會咁樣去到決定，覺得和平係不可能咧？係國家之間，
Because of our past experiences with each other.
因為過去嗰個背景咯。
And so with this nonlinear training that we give for leaders on both sides, we train them, it is to begin to ask, how can I make my decisions in the present for the future, not based on the past that I experienced, but based on the future that I want to create.
咁所以咧，心理佢就好想去到教人咧，唔係由一個過去就會而家就會就將來就會發生係點樣，而係咧基於你自己想像嗰件事將來係點樣發生咧，所以你今日要做啲乜嘢嘅決定，就係一個唔係一條直線咁去到諗嘢。
What makes something possible or not possible for my future, for your future now is motivated by the past that we have experienced.
我哋而家做決定咧，就係因為過去我哋嘅經驗而做決定。
How can we cannot ignore the past. You know, the past is who shaped us to who we are. How can we honor the past, respect the past, learn from the past, but make our decisions independent from the past?
咁就要去到學習咧，我哋要去到接受我哋嘅過去發生嘅事啦，承認過去發生嘅事，但係咧唔係由因為過去發生咗啲乜嘢事咧，去到決定我哋將來我哋認定將來一啲事有冇可能。
And for me, again, when I developed this and we were working on this, for me it is very biblical as well.
咁佢當去到教人哋要去到由過去嘅事學習咧，咁佢哋都會發現咧呢一樣嘢係好有聖經嘅根據嘅。
How do we create the space for the kingdom to be manifested in our life, the future kingdom, instead of the law of the past to decide every aspect of our life?
咁我哋生命入邊點樣彰顯到神嗰個國咧，而唔係由即係俾一啲過去嘅事啊，去到律法啊，去到纏住咧。
Jesus was non-violent.
其實耶穌咧都係一個從事非暴力嘅人嚟嘅。
He broke the rules all the time.
佢成日都犯律法嘅喎。
Even healing people during Shabbat, the day of rest.
安息日就走去醫人啦。
He wasn't doing this just to provoke anger and frustration from the other.
但係佢做呢啲嘢咧，唔係為咗要去到激起人哋佢嘅目的唔係要去到激嬲人哋或者去到挑釁人哋嘅。
He was provoking people because he wanted them to let go of the constraints that are not allowing them to live their life. When the law became everything in their life, he said no.
佢就其實佢唔係挑釁人哋，而係去到挑戰人哋咧，去到由一啲律法去到限制咗佢嘅嘢，或者佢 法係點樣嘅呢啲嘅認識入邊咧，要去到走出嚟，去到做一啲新嘅嘢。
This is my problem. Every time I want to say this is the last thing I say, I keep saying this is the last thing I say, and then this is the last thing I say, and this is the last thing I say.
佢一個習慣咧就係話呢一個係我最後一點咧，但係佢有好多最後一點嘅。
So now the last thing I say.
所以佢最後一點啦，呢個就。
When I'm talking about this new understanding of peace, let me give you an example, an illustration.
佢想舉一個例子講呢一個和平，佢點樣？佢對於和平一個新嘅理解係點樣嘅
Okay. So there isn't any here, but even we have those pictures. When you see a painting
我哋
on
見
the
到幅
wall,
畫，係啦，見到幅畫或者後邊嗰啲相啦。
there are two major components of a painting.
一幅畫咧有兩個主要嘅元素嘅，
The two major components are the painting itself
就係幅畫本身啦，
and the frame, right?
同埋個框個畫框。
If you see the Mona Lisa, for example,
蒙娜麗莎啦，
the Mona Lisa is very beautiful painting,
蒙娜麗莎係一幅好靚嘅畫啦，係咪？
but the Mona Lisa has a frame.
但係都有一個畫框框住佢嘅。
I don't know if you ever saw the frame of the Mona Lisa.
大家有冇見過蒙娜麗莎個幅畫個畫框咧？
When you go home, Google the Mona Lisa and zoom on the frame. It's a beautiful piece of art as well.
其實蒙娜麗莎幅畫咧係連埋個畫框個畫框都係好靚嘅喎。
Our problem when we are talking about peace is that all of us are arguing about the frame.
係當我哋去到理解和平嘅時候咧，我哋好多時會犯一個錯誤咧，就係去到拗嗰個畫框係點樣樣。
So imagine we're arguing, should it be a wooden frame? Should it be a plastic frame? Should it be a thick frame? Should it be a thin frame? Should it be a red frame? Should it be a black frame? Should it be a frameless frame?
係啦，就係去到拗和平咧，就成日講嗰個畫框應該係咩色啊，用咩做啊，有幾闊啊，要唔要畫框啊，就拗呢啲問題。
And we fight each other over the frame.
之後拗到面紅耳熱喺度打晒交咁。
And what do we forget?
但係忘記咗啲乜嘢啊？
The painting.
忘記咗幅畫本身咯。
Who is drawing the painting of the future?
係邊一個去畫嗰幅畫先？呢一樣都未講。
All the politicians are fighting over the frame.
其實咧，世界上好多政治領袖咧，佢哋就係經常為咗呢啲個畫框咧去到拗到面紅。
And what we want to encourage is to give the space for the people to draw the future.
而生命佢希望可以做得到嘅，佢想做到嘅，就係俾啲人咧可以去到畫嗰幅畫。
Both are important.
兩樣都重要嘅。
We need the frame to protect the painting.
係一幅畫要有畫框嘅，去保護幅畫嘅。
But having a frame without a painting means also nothing.
但係一個好靚嘅畫框，但係冇咗幅畫，咁亦都係冇意義嘅。
So the last question I have.
最後一個問題同埋最後一點。
How was Tony's translation?
Very good.
Thank you very much for listening and for being with us. Only 2 people fell asleep, which is very good. Now we maybe open up for questions.
大家有冇啲問題想問？大家有冇問題想問可以舉手問。可以問中文英文都得。你可以用中文問，然後我幫你翻譯。
我想問嘅咧就係佢講緊即係而家嗰個嘅我要譯翻中文再諗。I'm going to say in English because the registry words in English. I want to know more about what you're doing right now because you talked about the renewed spiritual perspective that you have when you are doing this work. And what exactly do you do?
知多啲佢到底心理而家係做緊啲乜嘢嚟到推動佢頭先所講嘅概念。
Good. So we have a brochure about some of the work we do, but to explain more details, our work is in 4 areas.
因為而家做緊嘅嘢其實有4方面嘅喎。
The areas are nonviolence, healing, transformation, and creating a space where people meet together, especially internationals coming to be with us.
就係去到飛過啦，亦都有啲更新啦，亦都係醫治啦，同埋去到創造一個空間俾啲人去到聚埋一齊，去到一齊去共同推動。
We work with all segments of all the communities in the land.
咁佢係成個聖地嘅地方咧，所有嘅人啊，或者所有嘅社區都可以參與嘅，佢都會同佢哋一齊去到參與。
But there are 3 segments that we feel are very, very important to work with that we feel have been marginalized in the past.
咁但係有3個咧係以往被邊緣化咗嘅族群咧，佢哋係會好着重咧去到同佢哋一齊。
And these are young adults, children,
第一個咧就係
teenagers,
係啦，第一個就係小朋友啦、少年人啦，同埋一啲即係職青啊，
women,
女人啦、婦女
and religious leaders.
同埋宗教嘅領袖。
And so for us, our work is done through workshops and trainings and seminars where we invite people to come.
咁佢會搞一啲嘅工作坊啦，或者一啲嘅講座啊、座談會，就請佢哋嚟。
And we've developed curriculum for all of these people at the different levels.
咁佢就會設計咗一啲嘅課程咧，俾呢啲唔同即係嘅唔同嘅族群嘅人咧，佢可以去到學習。
So why do we work with young adults, teenagers? Because, as everybody knows, they are the future.
點解要同呢啲嘅少年人或者啱年輕人去到做咧，去到教佢哋咧？因為佢哋係未來啊嘛。
So we develop programs to develop the leadership skills of these young adults so that they will be the real leaders of the future in both communities, Palestinian and Israeli.
咁佢哋對於呢啲少年人或者啱讀完書出嚟社會嘅年輕人咧，佢哋就會教佢哋一啲點樣去到做未來社會嘅領袖。
And specifically, we work with young teenage girls.
特別咧，佢會係希望佢哋活動咧可以接觸到一啲年輕嘅女仔。
One of the programs that I'm very proud of is called the Young Girls Empowerment Program.
咁佢有一個嘅課程咧，就係俾年輕嘅女仔咧，去到令佢哋係 empower， 即係充權，即係俾佢哋知道自己有啲乜可以做到啲乜嘢，有啲咩能力。
To combine it with the second category, women, before the Oslo peace process began, Palestinian women were actually the leaders of our community. Not the only leaders, but they were co-leaders, let's say, in our community.
咁其實咧點解要做呢一樣嘢咧？同埋要去到接觸啲婦女咧？因為喺呢個奧斯陸嘅協議呢個和平進程之前咧，巴勒斯坦呢個社會入邊咧嗰啲嘅婦女啊，或者一啲年輕嘅女仔咧，其實佢哋個社會入邊好重要嘅角色係扮一個領導嘅角色嘅。
In the work of non-violence, in the work of resistance, in the work of education and development, it was women.
其實咧，婦女咧要做一啲非暴力嘅嘢，或者啲教育嘅嘢嘅時候咧，佢哋係好有能力嘅，好有感染力嘅。
When the peace process began and the Palestinian Authority was established,
咁當嗰個和平進程開始咗嘅時候咧，就成立咗一啲巴勒斯坦嘅管治嘅組織啦。
Our male leaders said, "Women, thank you. You did your job. Now go."
咁即係佢哋政府佢哋就覺得話嗰啲男人咧就會話我哋而家成立咗一個管治嘅架構啦，咁你啲婦女可以翻屋企㗎啦。
You cook and make babies. That's good enough.
咁就生 BB 同埋煮飯啦。
We will decide the future.
咁我哋就會決定未來嘅所有嘢。
And we actually say this was one of the disasters of Oslo. So I said the first disaster was motivation by fear. The second disaster we say is it was all men who were trying to reach an agreement on both sides.
咁其實咧，即係呢個和平進程之所以失敗咧，除咗因為佢哋係基於一個恐懼之外咧，亦都因為係全部決定咧都係男人做嘅，就冇啲女人係參與嘅。
Gender-wise, there are actually more females than males in Palestinian society. 51% female, 49% male.
其實巴勒斯坦入邊咧係女多男少嘅，女人係佔51%，男人係49%嘅。
Decision-making wise, like in leadership position, political, economic, or social, women are only 3%.
但係如果要去到作決定嗰班人入邊咧，即係經濟上啊、社會上啊嘅決定咧，就女人咧淨係即係佔咗3%。
The third component of our work, or the third target, is religious leaders.
佢哋嘅工作入邊第3個嘅目標嘅群組咧，就係宗教領袖。
How many of you have heard before, religion is the problem in the conflict in the Holy Land?
有冇聽過呢一句嘢就係話咧，聖地入邊咧嘅衝突咧就係源於宗教嘅原因。
You heard this, right?
都有聽過。
We are actually asking, is religion the solution?
咁但係心理佢想做嘅就係話，到底宗教會唔會反而係個解決方案呢？
So what we have decided to do, which is completely crazy, is to talk to the religious leaders that are in opposition to the peace process.
咁所以佢做咗一樣咧係好瘋狂嘅事咧，就係佢哋要去到接觸嗰啲反對進行和平進程嘅宗教領袖。
And when we started talking to them, what we realized is that they do not oppose peace. They oppose this peace process.
咁當佢哋接觸呢啲宗教嘅領袖嘅時候咧，就發現其實佢哋唔係反對和平，佢哋係反對呢一個和平嘅進程或者一個做法啫。
Because the peace process was led by secular leaders who said religion is the problem, and they took the religious voice out, and the religious voice reacted.
咁佢哋之所以反對和平進程咧，因為佢哋見到咧呢個和平進程咧係由一啲世俗嘅人咧，佢冇宗教嘅人咧去到作決定，而嗰啲人咧覺得宗教係問題嘅原因所在，就唔俾啲宗教領袖去參與，所以嗰啲宗教領袖咧就好不滿啦。
So now we are talking with those religious people, and some of them actually are living in these settlements, the extremists that I was telling you about. We're talking to them and asking them, what is the peace that you want to be part of, that you can create with us together?
咁所以佢哋嘅工作咧，其中一部分就係接觸嗰啲嘅宗教領袖，一部分就係住喺呢啲嘅殖民區嘅，就去到問翻佢哋其實你哋心目中和平或者個和平進程應該係點樣去到做嘅咧？問翻你嘅意見。
In the field of non-violence, it's also very important to say that we continue to resist.
但係咧，即係進行啲非暴力嘅工作咧，就經常都會講我哋要去到持續去到進行抗爭啦。
The occupation is very real for us as Palestinians.
咁對於巴勒斯坦嚟講咧，即係呢一個嘅即係以色列嘅佔領咧，係佢哋每一日都親身切身經歷嘅一件事嘅現實。
Even though we have Palestinian autonomous areas, we still live under Israeli military control.
咁雖然佢哋嗰啲即係 ABC 區入邊都係有巴勒斯坦咧，佢哋自治嘅地區啦，但係始終歸根究底咧，都係以色列嘅軍方係佔領咗成個嘅西岸嘅。
And so our biggest action now that we are doing is the Sumud freedom camp that you saw earlier.
咁所以佢其中一個重要嘅工作就係我哋呢一個講座開始之前咧，有講個freedom camp 啦，去到喺Sumud呢個地方。
Sumud means steadfastness. Steadfast.
即係佢哋係啦，Sumud呢個地方就係話一個守或者一個堅固嘅一個地方。
To be able to stand in your ground, strong.
即係站穩陣腳嘅地方嚟嘅，係唔會被搖動嘅。
And we started this first activity in a piece of land that used to be a Palestinian village 20 years ago.
咁佢哋第一個舉辦呢一個地方就係喺一個20年前喺一個巴勒斯坦嘅村莊嘅地方舉行。
And all the people that live in this village 20 years ago were evicted by the Israeli army.
咁呢條村莊嗰啲巴勒斯坦喺20年前咧就俾以色列嘅軍方咧就係要求係要全部要遷走，要離開佢哋嘅村。
And the reason they were evicted is because there was, and there still is, a settlement, a Jewish settlement near this area.
因為佢附近係有一個猶太嘅即係要建立一個猶太殖民區。
So we decided with the people from this village to do a joint non-violent action.
咁決定同呢一條村嗰啲原居民咧就去做一個非暴力嘅行動。
Joint means Palestinians and Israelis and Jews and Christians and Muslims from all around the world coming together to stand in solidarity and in non-violence with the people of this community.
咁就唔單止係嗰啲原居民，仲要係信唔同宗教嚟自唔同嘅地方嘅人咧，都會歡迎佢哋嚟到呢個地方，同呢啲嘅居民一齊去到進行呢個行動。
In May of this year, we organized and we came together and started rebuilding this community.
咁今年5月開始咧，就有啲嘅進展啦，就係開始喺呢個地方咧，開始去到建立翻一個嘅社區出嚟。
It was amazing. We received a lot of attention from around the world.
係引起咗全世界好多嘅關注嘅。
Did you hear about the Standing Rock in the U.S., the movement of the Native Americans to fight for their rights? Standing Rock.
咁美國嘅原居民咧都有一個叫做 Standing Rock 嘅行動咧，係去到爭取佢哋嘅權益。
We were labeled as the Standing Rock of Palestine, solidarity, because it was similar about the land right of the people, the indigenous people.
咁喺美國美國嗰一個行動咧係好出名嘅，所以佢哋喺巴勒斯坦做嘅咧都會被稱之為咧巴勒斯坦嘅 Standing Rock 嘅行動。
The Israeli army has come 3 times and destroyed everything we built.
咁佢其實呢一樣嘢咧，俾以色列嘅軍方咧去到總之拆晒佢哋嗰啲嘅社區啦，係3次咁多。
And more recently, they are arresting many of the young Palestinian leaders who are part of that community.
咁仲由最近咧都仲拉緊好多巴勒斯坦嘅領袖係參與緊呢個行動嗰啲領袖。
But we keep going back and we keep building.
咁但係佢每一次拆咗咧，就翻去又再起翻出嚟咯。
So our work is everywhere.
所以佢係遍佈整個地方好多地方。
But the format that we do usually is in either non-violent action or in trainings and workshops and seminars or doing these meetings where we bring people together for healing and transformation.
係啦，所以就係主要係啲非暴力嘅抗爭行動啦，或者係一啲嘅教育嘅行動啦，或者一啲嘅研討會。
Another thing we do is we organize programs for people like you to come and be with us.
係啦，咁所以另一樣嘢就係邀請好似大家咁樣嚟自世界各地嘅人咧，去同佢哋一齊去到見面。
So we organize tours. I don't like to use the word tourism, but we organize experiences, we call them encounters for people to come and to see the situation.
係好似一啲嘅交流團咁樣俾佢哋嚟睇嘅。
We have many Christians that come to the Holy Land, as you know.
係啦，就好多基督徒咧，每年都會去個聖地度旅遊啦。
And they call it pilgrimage.
咁佢哋就叫做朝聖啦。
But if I want to be honest with you,
但係其實咧，老老實實同大家講啦。
Their visit to the Holy Land is like their visit to Disneyland.
咁但係佢哋其實有時去睇嘅嘢咧，同大家去迪士尼咧冇乜分別過。
It's not pilgrimage.
唔係真係朝聖嘅，其實。
They come and they complain about the lines being too long or the food not being good enough. They take lots of selfies, but they never even meet a local indigenous Christian in the Holy Land.
係啦，佢哋好多時嚟到咧就會話排好耐隊，然後啲嘢又唔好食，之後影 selfie 擺翻上個，但係佢哋又唔會真係見到當地嘅基督徒咯。
They never learn about what is happening today. It's only just about taking pictures with history, but what is life today?
所以佢哋好多時就會淨係去一啲古蹟嗰度去到學一啲歷史，但係咧就唔會去到了解翻而家嗰個現狀到底係點樣嘅。
So we have, as part of our work, is we created this travel, like a travel agency or a travel group that we organize packages for people to come and to visit.
所以佢哋亦都會舉辦咗啲好似一個旅行社咁樣啦，就邀請啲人去到佢哋當地去睇翻個生活係點樣嘅。
So next week, for example, we have 3 groups that are coming.
即係下個星期就有3個呢啲嘅交流團
，and they're all churches, 1 in England and 2 in the U.S.
就係啲英國同埋美國嘅教會嚟嘅。
We're organizing a full tour for them.
幫佢哋有一個好完備嘅行程啦。
But part of the tour is that they will spend each 3 days helping Palestinian farmers collect their olives, their olive trees.
咁佢哋就會幫啲巴勒斯坦嘅農民咧，去到幫佢摘啲橄欖。
Amazing experience.
係會好好嘅一個嘅經驗嚟嘅。
In December, we have a tour called the Sumud Freedom Tour.
咁喺12月咧舉辦一個 Sumud Freedom Tour 咧，就去參觀嗰啲嘅佔領區。
And people are applying from around the world to come to be with us. I think it's December 22nd till January 3rd, so you get to have Christmas and New Year in Bethlehem. But it's a political tour to find out and meet with the non-violent activists, Palestinian and Israeli, working together.
咁佢就係可以咧12月尾咧就可以去參觀選嗰啲嘅佢哋做緊嘅 freedom camps 啦，然後咧喺嗰度喺以色列咧可以過埋巴勒斯坦咧過埋聖誕同埋新年嘅。
In the summer, for example, we have a program called Iktashif, which means discover.
咁夏天咧佢哋又有另一個嘅計劃咧，就係去到一個叫做發現計劃。
And this program, you come and you stay with us for 1 month, and you live with a Palestinian family, you learn about the politics, you volunteer in a local organization, and you really get to know what life and politics and social life is like in Palestine and Israel.
咁你就可以咧，要參加個計劃咧，就可以喺巴勒斯坦咧住1個月啦，同一個巴勒斯坦家庭一齊生活啦，同埋去到學習當地例如一啲政治嘅嘢啦，或者去喺做義工啦，去幫呢啲嘅家庭。
And if this is not enough, you come in August, because every August we have a very big festival that we organize in Bethlehem.
咁如果咁都唔夠嘅話咧，可以8月咧嚟伯利恆啦，佢一個好大嘅一個嘅節日。
It's called Bethlehem Live.
就係伯利恆嘅生命嘅節日。
And it's a 4-day festival that has the themes of faith, justice, and art.
咁呢4日咧就會做好多嘢咧，係同信仰啦，或者同公義啦、同藝術咧係有關嘅，有好多呢啲活動舉行嘅。
So these are some highlights, but we have programs all the year that you can come and join us and participate.
咁就1年12個月都有好多活動咧，可以隨時歡迎大家嚟參加嘅。
And if you need anything, talk to Gloria in the back.
如果大家想知多啲資料，就喺後邊揾 Gloria。
That's what she does.
係啦。
Sorry, that was a long answer to the question.
答咗長大大家有冇
How close to your dream? Your goal?
How close?
距離你個目標仲有幾遠啊？
And what would you expect? Like politically, the man after your goal is succeed, and you expect to see it in your life.
即係你有生之年會見到咧，你希望嗰個政治嘅解決方法係點樣咧？
Tough question.
好啦，
My dream is to retire very soon.
佢嘅夢想就係想盡快退休。
My dream is to shut down the organization.
然後就呢個組織就可以刪
To
除，
say we have achieved everything we have achieved.
達到咗就可以刪除。
But to be honest, for me, I look at this as the journey of the organization for almost 20 years. But our dream has also shifted as well. So we don't have the same dream from the beginning.
但係咧，其實佢呢個組織成立咗20年咧，佢嗰個夢想係即係有少少改變咗、修訂咗嘅。
So initially when we started the organization, it was about achieving the political solution, the two-state solution.
佢最初成立嘅時候咧，就好似頭先所講係想即係令到呢個兩國嘅方案咧可以落實。
And so almost the first half of our life as an organization, we were doing resistance and non-violence against the wall and the checkpoints and the roadblocks to free the West Bank so that we can have a state.
所以佢頭嗰10年咧做嘅就好多非暴力抗爭咧，就希望唔可以再有啲圍牆啦、檢查站啦，令到西岸嘅地方真係可以準備就緒，可以成立巴勒斯坦國。
After my experience in Auschwitz, as I said, the vision began to shift for me.
但係佢去完奧斯威辛呢個波蘭嘅集中營嘅時候咧，佢嗰個夢想就開始，佢個目標就開始改變咗啲。
And as I said, I lost some of my key staff at that time.
咁當時有啲好重要嘅戰友都即係冇再去做啦。
When I decided that we are going to even become more crazy and to begin talking to some of the religious Jewish settlers about peace, that made almost the rest of my staff leave the organization.
咁當佢話要提出呢個好瘋狂嘅諗法，就話我哋而家要去到接觸一啲猶太教嘅領袖嘅時候咧，咁即係基本上佢好多嘅員工或者佢好多下屬咧，都決定唔玩啦走啦。
And I can understand. It's crazy.
係絕對可以理解，因為對你嚟講係好瘋狂一樣嘢。
To talk to the worst. It's easy to say I will talk to the other side that I can agree with and we have some things in common between us, and we could look good to show them that we are in a process, but to go to the worst of the enemy to say, I want to talk to you.
因為對佢哋嚟講咧，同一個可能同以色列人去到傾偈係冇乜問題嘅，可能有啲共通點嘅。但係同猶太教宗教領袖嚟講咧，喺佢哋眼中就係佢哋嘅仇敵之中最差嗰一班人。
If I want to be honest, I did not just lose Palestinian friends. I lost Israeli friends when I started talking to the settlers.
咁就算當佢去到同呢啲嘅以色列嘅殖民區嘅宗教領袖去傾偈嘅時候咧，唔單止好多巴勒斯坦人咧係唔理解，甚至嗰啲以色列人咧都係理佢唔再同佢一齊做。
Because all of us were told these are the problem. The blue dots, they are the problem. So why do you talk to them? We have to get rid of them.
因為佢哋做咗10年咧，就係其實呢啲一點點全部呢點點嘢就係個問題所在咧。點解要同嗰啲人講嘢咧？點解要同佢哋傾咧
What many of us, for example, don't realize, I don't know if you knew this or not, but 80% of the history of the Jewish people historically is here.
咁因為其實喺猶太人嘅歷史上面咧，有80%嘅事情都係發生喺呢一個西岸地區度嘅。
There is more Jewish history in the 20% than the 80%.
係啊，佢即係喺呢個80%嘅，喺呢個20% 嘅地方咧，就仲多歷史多嘢過嗰80%嘅。
And for me as a Christian, I began to realize that there is actually 80% of my Christian tradition is here and not here. 80% is in Israel, not in the West. As a Christian.
對佢作為一個基督徒嚟講咧，都係咁樣一樣，即係80%嘅係喺以色列，而2成係西岸。
Jesus was born in Bethlehem, right?
耶穌喺伯利恆度出世啦。
So this is where Bethlehem is.
伯利恆喺呢度嘅呢個黑色點。
What did he do in Bethlehem?
喺伯利恆做咗啲咩咧
You know what Jesus did in Bethlehem?
做咗啲乜？
He cried a lot, and 2 years later he ran away.
成日喺度喊之後就走咗啦。
My Christian heritage is in Jerusalem. It's in Nazareth. It's in the Galilee. This is where 80% of my Christianity exists.
對於新人嚟講咧，即係其實嗰個即係佢作為基督徒嘅生命咧，有80%嘅嘢咧，都係喺以色列呢一個地方，例如喺西耶路撒冷啦，喺加利利啦，或者喺拿撒勒，係佢嘅作為基督徒佢嗰個嘅roots，佢個根源。
So what we're doing, as I said, it's very, very, very challenging.
所以佢做嘅嘢係好有挑戰性嘅。
Not impossible, but very difficult.
係好困難，但係並唔係不可能嘅可能。
It's a shift in how we look into the conflict and how we look into the solution.
做緊一樣嘢就係要去到改變個諗法，點樣睇以巴衝突，點樣睇個解決嘅方法。
Now, if we want to look into success or not, I would say very little.
就其實如果要睇成唔成功，就係做咗好少嘅啫。
But this very little success is much, much better than what we were 5 years ago.
係啦，但係已經比起5年前咧，即係呢少少嘅成功，已經比5年前係好好多啦。
Which was nothing.
就係因為當時係乜都冇嘅。
But for us, we believe that if you don't plant the seeds in your lifetime, nobody will plant them for you.
但係咧，即係如果你生命入邊咧，你唔去到撒一啲種咧，就冇其他人可以撒呢啲種㗎啦。
So yes, I have a mission that a real peace will be manifested in my lifetime.
佢都希望有生之人可以見到一個真正嘅和平係實現到。
But I also say I live at peace knowing that we are training these young Palestinians and Israelis that if it doesn't happen in my lifetime, it is very possible it will happen in their lifetime.
所以，但係佢正就係佢去到接觸呢啲嘅年青人，去到訓練佢哋，就係因為佢相信，就算佢有生之年見唔到咧，呢啲年青人咧，佢有生之年都係見到。
And you ask me what does it look like? I say I have no idea.
咁到時呢一個和平係點樣達至嘅咧？其實佢都唔知道係會點樣嘅。
Our effort now is what we call in building the foundation that will sustain the right peace.
佢而家做緊嘅嘢咧係建立一個根基咧，即係可以令到一個真正嘅和平咧係可以延續得到。
You know the story in the Bible about the wise man and the foolish man?
聖經入面講嗰個有智慧同埋愚蠢嘅人啦。
What's the story? The wise man built his house on the
智慧嘅人佢個房屋係起喺邊㗎
on the rock. And the foolish man built his house on the sand.
愚蠢人就起喺沙土上面。
And so what we're saying for the last 40 years, we've been building a peace on sand.
即係過去40年咧，即係其實佢哋嘅可能咧呢個和平建築喺沙土上面嘅喎。
And every time we begin building it, it collapses.
所以咪次起咧都聖經所講就會冧咯。
Negotiations fail, violence happens, and we start again build it. Because we want to show the world, our leaders want to show the world that look, we're building it, we're building the peace. But everybody knows now, in a month or 2 months or a year, it collapses.
過去40年發生嘅事就係啲政治領袖佢希望建立一個和平啦，但係無論佢點樣去到談判啊，都最終都係會失敗，都會暴力咧亦都再次出現。
And so for us, it's what is the foundation, the strong stone that we need to build so that we can build that house on.
但係對於新美嚟講咧，佢哋要做嘅就係正正係要建立一個堅固嘅根基，喺磐石上面嘅根基。
And that foundation for me is the recognition and the respect of the equal right of all the people in this land.
咁呢一個根基咧就係要去到承認同埋尊重咧，即係彼此去到承認同埋尊重咧對方嗰個嘅權利同埋佢哋想要有嘅嘢。
To recognize and to acknowledge the atrocities that have been committed against us as Palestinians by the Israelis.
亦都要去承認翻咧以色列人咧以往對巴勒斯坦人所做過、所帶嚟嘅災難。
To say that Jews, Christians, and Muslims have a deep love to this land that needs to be honored.
亦都去承認咧，無論係你係信猶太教、基督教定係回教都好，你其實承認翻你哋呢啲嘅族群咧，都對於呢一個土地咧，你係中意嘅，唔係憎恨嘅。
And then at the same time, to begin to create the political structures, the frame that will maintain that painting.
做呢啲嘢與此同時咧，亦都係要建立一個即係政治嘅框架，就好似嗰幅油畫個畫框一樣。
But not to avoid the question, I will give you a little bit of an answer.
所以答翻你條問題啦，而家真係。
In all our talking, especially with the religious leaders, and these are the fundamentalist religious leaders on all sides.
當你接觸一啲最保守、即係最嚴格接住嗰啲嘅宗教領袖嘅時候咧
and according to even their religious teaching,
即係根據佢哋嗰啲宗教嘅教條
mostly the Jews and the Muslims, because for those religions it has much more to do with the land than the Christian faith.
特別係對於嗰啲猶太教同埋回教嘅人咧，因為佢哋嘅信仰入面咧係同個聖地咧好有關係嘅。
But the ones we are talking with, or the ones who are ready to talk with us at least, they all say that the land should not be divided.
對於佢哋嚟講咧，即係其實佢哋都會覺得呢一塊地咧係唔應該瓜分咗嘅。
That any form of government needs to be decentralized. There shouldn't be a central authority that is responsible for government. That each community should be able to have self-determination for their own internal affairs.
咁佢哋都會覺得呢一個政府咧唔應該係一個好中央集權式嘅政府，而係應該每一個唔同嘅地區咧，佢哋係有權去自己決定自己嘅事務。
That there should be a common law, of course, to maintain security of people in the land itself, so a basic law, but not in the daily life of the Jews and Arabs and Palestinians, whatever people want to identify themselves.
即係要一個共通同埋一個基本嘅法律啦，去到管理一個國家嘅事務啦，就唔係好樣嘢好仔細咧講晒每一個地方點樣做佢哋嘅嘢。
Yeah, so these are some of the main aspects, but they all agree that this is the Muslim leaders and the Jewish leaders that this two-state thing does not work.
但係咧，其實可以見到咧，無論係猶太教或者回教領袖咧，佢都會覺得當時奧斯陸嗰種兩國嘅解決方案咧，其實佢哋係覺得咁樣係行唔通嘅，應該係一個國家。
Yeah, but for me, I'm not in any way trying to push for or endorse a political solution because I think it's too early to be even talking about this.
但係對於新人嘅工作咧，就唔係去到爭取啲乜嘢政治嘅解決方案，因為呢一個係對黎巴嫩之上做嘅。
教會歡迎大家喺呢度一齊傾一個重要嘅題目。我1992年有機會去加沙同埋去西岸。嗱，我嘅背景咧係浸信會，一路喺神學院同埋我嘅訓練咧就係話聖係好重要嘅。咁仲有咧，猶太人咧就係選民。咁猶太人復國咧，我嘅被人教導咧係聖經嘅成就預言咧，所以呢個成就預言之下咧，佢做乜嘢咧都係justify嘅，就算唔公義都好咧，都係 OK 嘅，因為最重要就係猶太人可以復國。咁我嘅訓練亦都係話咧。呢個復國同我哋嗰個末世咧，耶穌再翻嚟咧係有關係嘅。但係我去到嘅時候，我有機會認識同猶太人傾偈，佢哋都係唔信耶穌嘅。從某個程度咧，佢哋都幾覺得咧，佢哋係應該頭先其實阿 Sami 咧講得好好解釋晒嘅。我去嗰個加沙同埋西岸嘅時候咧，我見到西岸嗰啲嘅細路哥同埋加沙嘅細路哥咧玩遊戲係玩咩咧？係揸住個木製嘅 AK-47咧喺度射以色列人。呢個係佢哋遊戲嚟嘅。哇！佢哋嘅仇恨大到不得了。我去到加沙嘅時候，有一次我哋喺度探啲人。有好多外國嘅志願團喺度幫手一啲嘅事，幫助佢哋。突然間，佢天空嗰度咧有個直升機，嗰啲軍機嚟嘅。咁咧就攝影師一同我講小心喎，佢一斜一打橫咧，我哋個個都走入佢啲街道，就喺天度就射落嚟。佢哋話有啲恐怖分子喎。嗱。以色列人對巴勒斯坦人喺加沙或者西岸咧係唔公義嘅，呢個係事實。我嘅掙扎就係點解我嘅神學訓練咧係容許啲人咧係咁殘酷嘅，而嗰啲人都唔係基督徒嘅。嗱，呢個係令到我到而家我都有懷疑嘅。我哋見到耶穌咧，我哋問佢呢個題。第二點，我今日聽到Sami分享咧，20幾年前我見到巴勒斯坦嘅人咧，大部分咧佢哋都係有啲仇恨喺度。嗱，今日我聽阿Sami講咧，佢話成個嘅和平嘅嗰個 non-violence 非暴力咧，佢唔係仇恨以色列人。我睇到耶穌嘅影子，我睇到天國嘅影子，佢冇仇恨。呢個唔係天國嘅講，非暴力唔係一個行動或者策略。喺阿 Sami 嘅身上，我見到咧係生命嘅果子，係我一路都想睇到嘅。佢唔係甘地，佢唔係嗰個緬甸嗰個山素基，佢平民，但係佢係受惠者。佢今日講俾我哋聽咧，係話咧係。佢都冇話饒恕嘅，佢同我冇所謂。我覺得佢嘗試去建造、去推動不同嘅嗰個 community 咧，係可以非暴力嘅。呢個 community 我睇到天國講，而呢個 model 世界嘅人，包括香港人，包括我都要學習，就算包括我喺教會都要提倡。神恩典，我聽完好感動。仲有佢最尾講咗一句，佢承認以色列，佢係即係歷史上係真係喺呢度有佢嘅主權，歷史上喎。我嗰陣時去嘅時候，佢哋覺得原本個地係佢係俾人改走。喺佢後生，應該佢嘅使命，如果我哋中國人咧係咩咧？金庸小説話：我俾人哋趕走，俾人殺咗，殺我冚家，咁要點啊？要報仇啊嘛，使命。我哋中國人就係要報仇噶嘛。嗱，佢話佢冇仇，冇同中國。唔知我哋中國人做唔做到？佢嘅使命反而係和平，建造呢個community。神祝福我咧，有機會聽到咁嘅故事。我嗰陣時去聽唔到呢個故事，主恩典。至於話咧，耶穌唔係咁嘅情況翻嚟咧，我仲有好多功課要做。係咪我哋因為呢個緣故，就容許咁唔公平、咁唔公義發生喺呢一個民族，而佢自己都唔關佢事嘅，但係出世就要面對呢一個，佢冚唪唥受嘅委屈、受嘅傷害，唔係佢做嘅。求主赦免我哋，咩叫公平？咩叫？可能講咗一啲可能會刺激更多問題嘅事，但係我自己覺得好感恩，聽到呢啲故事活生生，我覺得係神俾我哋祝福大家，我交翻神。